with 6 recorded as present. Therefore, the Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Yes, just 15 votes later. First time in 100 years. And look, they're clapping like it was the first time, like they're just fresh as daisies, even though that was late on Friday night when, yes, Representative Kevin McCarthy did clinch the vote to become the House Majority Speaker for the Republicans who have been, I don't know, like just effing around, for lack of a better term, on this entire vote. So let's look at how it all played out, how he eventually got those votes. So early Friday, the House Republican leader had cut a deal with more than a dozen House rebels, which I don't really know if we should call them rebels, but okay. One which would entrench the power of the far-right House Freedom Caucus. McCarthy announced he had reached a deal with Representative-elect Chip Roy of Texas, a leader of the Republicans who'd withheld support, on a call with Republican caucus members on Friday morning. That was the morning. So much left to happen. So after winning the support of 214 Republicans in the first round of voting Friday and the 12th overall, Representative-elect Andy Harris of Maryland flipped to McCarthy in the 13th round, still leaving McCarthy 4 votes shy of a majority. 2 pro-McCarthy Republicans, Wesley Hunt of Texas and Ken Buck of Colorado, missed the votes due to family and medical issues, but returned to DC Friday night to help elect McCarthy, which might have accounted for that lapse. Remember, these holdout Republicans have been putting everyone's lives on hold, effectively Congress on hold, the United States on hold. And people had legit funerals to attend, births to attend. So what happened later in the day? On the 14th ballot, 4 anti-McCarthy votes stuck together, while Gaetz and Boebert voted present, continuing to deny and exasperated McCarthy the speakership. Republicans then moved to adjourn till Monday, but amid the chaos, Gaetz and McCarthy struck a deal, and on the 15th and final ballot, cue music, all 6 the remaining holdout votes voting present, giving McCarthy 216 votes and a slim majority of the 428 ballots counting toward the total. Again, you have to get the majority of the present Congress people. Notice how the holdouts didn't vote for McCarthy, they voted present, but it gave him the W. And he decided to celebrate. Here's Nina Turner tweeting this picture, which is of Kevin McCarthy ordering champagne to his office, again, to go along with that rousing applause. Is this cause for celebration? Is it, if it was you, this is you, 15 rounds. This is like having 15 do-overs and then winning on the 15th and being like, see, always a winner.
You know, it's interesting because I don't know that there's any job in my life that I want as badly as obviously Speaker McCarthy wanted this job. And I think that's what all these guys and gals that sort of dangled it in front of him and made sure he had to beg and cajole to get it. I think that's what the Freedom Caucus, Matt Gaetz and all of those people understood quite clearly, is that Kevin McCarthy was dying to become Speaker of the House and he would do anything to get it. And in his desperation, all kinds of concessions. You know, the guy took a public beating, a public flogging. They basically embarrassed him, pantsed him, gave him a wedgie, you know, on the floor of the House. And now he gets to be Speaker. It's just, you wonder, right? We always hear politicians say, oh, we don't negotiate with terrorists. The Republican Party absolutely negotiated with the terrorists of their wing. And we'll see how it goes, but this is quite embarrassing.
Well, doesn't the saying continue that like once you do negotiate with terrorists, it's all chill?
I don't think
Like they stopped becoming terrorists.
I don't think that will be the case for this guy. And let's be clear so that the viewers understand. This was never gonna go any other way. These people, even the terrorists, have an agenda. And they want to chase Joe Biden's kid's penis all around the Beltway. They want to allegedly investigate the investigators in the CIA and FBI. Allegedly, they want to check out Nancy Pelosi's tax returns and all of that. Like they have, quote unquote alleged business that they want to attend to, and they didn't have a viable alternative candidate. It was always gonna go this route. They couldn't go about the business of being idiots in the Congress without this happening. But I just found this so fascinating that they felt the need to just publicly embarrass this dude this way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to show what? Like it didn't show strength. It showed, and I think, it's been said before, and we should point out that this is the Freedom Caucus. The majority of the holdouts were people who did not vote to endorse or certify the election results of 2020. Many of them do not believe that Donald Trump rightfully lost the election, that President Biden rightfully won the election. This is the caucus of election denialism, of the big lie, and of people who also aided and abetted and supported the insurrectionists and the rioters on January 6th. So let's not forget, like we're 2 years out from January 6th. We not only didn't bring any of these elected officials to justice, we gave them more power. And Kevin McCarthy did exactly that. He gave them more power. He was unable to bring them to heel. And instead, he was like, no, okay, yeah, please, here's more ability and here's more tools to absolutely destroy the US government. Like go forth, right? Like I'm surprised that they didn't pass we're gonna reenact the insurrection day on January 6th every day. Marjorie gets to touch QAnon shaman's abs, whatever. Anyway, but let's get to specifics. What were the concessions? What happened? How did they come to the table? So the original deal McCarthy struck with the holdouts reportedly lowers the threshold to force a vote on vacating the chair, meaning his chair, to just one member. This means it will be much easier to kick McCarthy out of the job he just won. So what does that mean? That means just Lauren Boebert could wake up on a Thursday and be like, you know what? I don't like Kevin McCarthy as speaker. I want to be speaker, or I just don't like him. I call a vote. One person can trigger a vote. And Woz, what are we gonna do? We're gonna redo the whole thing? The whole thing, that poor woman who's named the Republican who she's just my Karen of this moment. She's my parliamentarian Karen. We're just gonna have to start roll call all over again?
It's incredible. In the process of this guy's thirst and utter desperation for this job, he weakened himself and his own standing in said job. Like coming into the door, he's a weaker speaker than has ever been before him. And part of me is like, maybe the way the majority works should be a little bit more democratic. Maybe speakers shouldn't be able to move so unilaterally. I mean, just take for one example, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi completely separating the sick leave from the railroad workers vote. Like she could just do that unilaterally as far as how she brought that vote up. And so part of me thinks maybe the speaker shouldn't be so autonomous. At the same time, Francesca, you just had a baby, a 3-month-old. There's just certain things that you're not gonna allow the baby to do, like mess with the sockets, hold the knife, start the stove. That's how I feel with these idiots in the House. It's like these guys can't be trusted with adult tasks.
No, they can't. If my baby could start the stove though, she is cooking. I just wanna say. When her little hands can move, I'll be like, you're cooking your own meal.
Straight to work.
Yeah. Make me eggs, thank you. No, I think that's a really good point. And there's a couple more concessions there. The deal also reportedly gives House Freedom Caucus members key slots on the House Rules Committee, as well as other committees, according to NBC News, and caps discretionary spending for 2024 at 2022 levels, putting programs such as Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block, which is like, can you do that through just these concessions and these rules. Obviously, this is all, we're relying on Kevin McCarthy and Republicans to pass the budget that funds the government later this year. So that's gonna be fun. But previous reported details of negotiations also included that the political action committees tied to McCarthy will stay out of open House primaries in safe Republican districts, which could clear the way for even more right-wing members to be elected to the House. So basically no funding can go to anyone who is not as extreme as they are. Like if you're the speaker, and again, look, we saw what Nancy Pelosi did supporting Henry Cuellar, and Woz brings up a good point. Pelosi has way too much power in a lot of ways. But this would effectively say, yeah, no, you cannot wield the money, Republican money, right? To a member that we don't like, or to primarying anyone. Let's say there's in Lauren Boebert's district, she narrowly lost to a Democrat in Colorado. Well, what if McCarthy wants to put up someone else who's a little more, competent? No, that's completely off the table, right? So it's kind of the ways that I think some leftists, we look, or not even leftists, people who are left of extremists, look at this and they're like, man, I wish we could leverage some of that. But look what Kevin McCarthy just did. He just said probably what Nancy Pelosi would like to do, which is like, you can never primary an incumbent Democrat, and we're not gonna give you money. Now they already hold out on money for those, primary challenges, but this is like in writing, we will not do that.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.